Hi, I'm Koller. I've long taught in Drisha's full-time programs, and this semester I'm fortunate to be part of a program called West Side Wednesdays on Wednesday evenings in October, and I hope to see you there. This week, Simchat Torah, we have the privilege, the zchut of finishing the Torah. For most of us, obviously not for the first time, but for the umpteenth time. And it's a good time to reflect on what it is that we've just finished. At the beginning of the Torah, the beginning of Breshit, the question is often asked, what kind of book this actually is. Rashi, of course, at the beginning of Breshit, in his question of why we don't start with the first mitzvah, seems to assume in the question that it's a book of laws. An alternative view is that it's a storybook, it's a narrative, it's a history book. At the end of the Torah, we have a little insight into the way the Torah, from the way the Torah ends, into what the Torah really was. And I think what we see is that there's two different aspects, two different facets to the Torah, one of which ends this week on Simchas Torah at the end of Dvarim, and the other is open-ended and continues into Sefer Yoshua. Let me explain for a minute what I mean. The end of Dvarim, the end of V'Zot HaBracha, V'lo kam navi od b'Yisrael k'Moshe, asher yida'o Hashem panim al panim. There was no prophet like Moses, no prophet like Moshe, whom God knew face to face. L'chol ha'otot v'amoftim asher shalacho Hashem la'asot be'eretz Mitzrayim leFaro, l'chol avadav, l'chol artzo, l'chol hayad ha'chazaka, l'chol morah ha'gadol asher asa Moshe le'nei kol Yisrael. Specifically, Moshe was unique in all of the miracles, all the signs and wonders that he did to Paro, to the Egyptians, in the eyes of, in front of all of the Israelites, all of Bnei Israel. And with this we come to the end of the Torah. Why is this a fitting end to the Torah? It's a fitting end if the Torah was essentially a book about Moshe. And of course, once we say that, that seems like a reasonable suggestion. One has to explain that Bereshit is explaining where Moshe came from, a run up to Moshe. But from, of course, the beginning of Sefer Shemot, all the way till today, all the way till the end of V'Zot HaBracha, it is a book about Moshe. It's a book of Moshe, and in particular, the Torah ends with Lo kam navi od b'Yisrael ki Moshe, perhaps in order to emphasize that we've come to the end of an era. What era are we now ending? Presumably the era of Matan Torah. Now, Moshe's Nevuah, Moshe's prophecy, is unique, is special, is unparalleled, will never be matched. And that means that the Torah that we've just learned, the Torah that we just read, the Torah that we are completing today, is a closed book. It can never be supplemented, it can never be changed, it can never be altered, because no one could possibly do anything with the authority of Moshe. Moshe was unique, Moshe was one of a kind, and Moshe is now dead, and so we've come to the end of an era. In another sense, though, the pasuk before that, V'Yoshua bin Nun malei ruach chochma ki samach Moshe yadav alav. The pasuk before that tells us that Moshe, although he is the end of an era, he's also setting the stage for the next era, setting the stage for his disciple Joshua, whom he granted the authority to continue, we vested with the authority to continue in his leadership role. And of course, in this respect, we think of the Torah not as a law book, not as a closed book of mitzvot, but as an open book of a narrative. And in that respect, Moshe is the first, perhaps most formative stage, but far from the end of the story. And in fact, the very end of our parsha tells us about Joshua, which of course is the next book. If I turn the page in my Tanakh, the story continues. It was after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, and so on. In other words, as a narrative, as a grand story of Bnei Israel, of the children of Israel, of their destiny, of their fate, of their purpose, and the meaning of their existence in the world, the 5 books of Moses, the Torah itself, is only the beginning. The Torah then has 2 purposes, 2 meanings. As a book of law, it's closed, it's unique, it can never be touched, it can never be matched. But as a narrative, it's open-ended. It's the beginning, and then it continues. The book of Joshua, book of Judges, Samuel, Kings, and down to our present day. In that respect, the Torah is merely setting the stage, merely opening the story for a long, grand narrative that's to continue. To my mind, it's a wonderful metaphor for the year that we've just completed, as we start now the new year. Each year has things that are unique. The year is finished, the year is over, it's behind us. And in a sense, the year can never be changed. On the other hand, what happens in each year opens up new vistas, opens up new possibilities for the coming year, and in that sense, each year is only the beginning. With that, I wish you a Shana Tova, a wonderful, happy, healthy, and successful and productive year.